if you're listening to this in the car and you're on your way home,
we'll be in
turn
your
around
house.
because we're in your house.
We're in your house.
And welcome to the Horror Junkies Podcast. I'm your host, Pat.
I'm Mike.
What up?
What up?
It's a Pat and Mike episode.
My name's not Matt.
God damn it. That's when you and me make the fun of ourselves.
We've taken over the Horror Junkies Podcast. This is Lou and Pat from This Might Sound Crazy.
I would say generally I'd be enthused about doing this because I love horror movies, but I'm not because I don't like Disney movies.
Oh, Disney horror movies are the worst.
They're not horror. Disney doesn't... Okay. All right. This isn't going to sound good. Preface this whole episode by saying this will not be fun or entertaining for me. I don't know that it will be that way for the listener. So we've jacked the Horror Junkies podcast feed right now. If you don't like what you're hearing right now, change back. Just fast forward. Listen to something else because I'm going to come across as very mean and very bitter in regards to the trash that these two fuckwats made us watch. Because this is the thing. I love horror, and the way that I likened it was, this is like, hey, you love ice cream, right? I made you this delicious ice cream sundae, but instead of putting hot fudge on top, I just put ribbons of hot diarrhea throughout it. Because, and I told that to the other Mike here, and he's like, that's a bit of an extreme comparison. And I said, no, it's not an extreme comparison, because you know why?
Why?
I only thought initially we had to watch one shitty Disney movie. You had me on your goddamn email chain that I was not paying attention to. You know why?
It's your
because
fault.
you were talking about Disney movies, so I wasn't paying attention because I didn't care. And then I'm like, I guess I'm going to sit down and watch Hocus Pocus. And he's like, what about the other two movies? What the fuck are you talking about, other two movies? And I just said no. I'm drawing the line at two shitty Disney movies that I'm watching that I don't want to watch. Not fucking three, one of which I've never heard of in my life, so I can only imagine how shitty it truly was.
Yeah.
What movies are we going to talk about today?
Okay, we're going to talk about three movies. We're going to talk about Hocus Pocus.
Well, we're going to talk about two movies. You're going to talk about a third movie, I guess.
So there's Hocus Pocus, which came out in 1993.
Yep.
There's The Haunted Mansion, which came out in 2003.
Yep.
And then there's a... No, wait, that came out in 90s. I don't know.
No, you're right. It did come out in 2003.
And then there's a third movie called Scream Teens, which is a Disney Channel movie.
That makes sense.
And
that's why I've never heard of it.
I don't have my notes in front of me. The only note I remember writing down for that one was I paused it at 12 seconds saying I already hate this.
Yeah.
Right?
And this is the thing. Obviously, I'm not a person that grew up on Disney films. Otherwise, I wouldn't have so much
Disney
contempt.
Movies.
You did like Disney movies.
Yeah, I liked them, and I'll still watch them, man.
I didn't give a fuck. I didn't give a fuck about Disney movies at any point in time in my upbringing. I thought the Pixar movies were cool.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
those movies never felt like Disney movies.
Yeah.
They felt like Pixar movies because Disney has this thing where they're the fairy tale makers, right? And even when it's a movie that's not supposed to be a fairy tale, it still has the fairy tale feel and aesthetic. Like Haunted Mansion,
yes.
A story that's a ghost story, a story about a haunted house, still feels like a fucking fairy tale because there's this big ghost fairy tale bullshit wedding in it.
Yeah, but you also got to realize, too, that Disney took a huge dip, in the 80s and 90s, right? In just, content quality. And it kind of came back with, Aladdin.
Well, I'd argue that they still have a giant dip in content quality today.
Zootopia's good.
Zootopia?
That? Yeah.
That's not a Disney movie.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why the fuck am I even saying this like I know? I don't know, and I don't give a shit about Disney movies.
Okay, so let's start with Hocus Pocus.
Okay. So,
now,
can I lead you off with a brief synopsis of Hocus Pocus for those who haven't seen the movie? Because I had never seen the movie before this.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
No! Fuck no, I've never seen this movie.
No, chill out, because
Why would I have seen this movie?
Dude,
it's a piece of shit.
I have a heartbreaking story, but let's hear your thing.
Why? Like, you get AIDS while watching Hocus Pocus as a
I
child?
wish.
Like,
I wish.
Okay.
No.
Whatever.
Give us a synopsis and I'll tell you my shitty story.
Okay. So, just a quick rundown of what happens in this movie. 1993, you might know this movie because it stars Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica Parker and the chick who is the voice of Peggy Hill, whose name I can't remember. They play three haggard witches.
Kathy Magina something.
Yeah. The role was originally offered to Rosie O'Donnell, but she turned it down because she didn't want to play a mean witch.
Also, she can't sing.
She can't sing. But also, she said she didn't want to offend real-life Wiccans and witches.
Which this movie does.
Yeah. But also, whatever, dude. We get it. You're goth. No one cares. Okay?
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, after 3 centuries, 3 witch sisters are resurrected in Salem, Massachusetts on Halloween night. And it's up to 2 silly teenagers and a young girl and an immortal talking cat to put an end to their reign of terror once and for all. My care really wanes from the beginning to the end of that synopsis.
Yes. And you know what the sad part is?
What?
Probably the best movie of the 3. And it's still a stinker.
You know what? I'm going to argue that I think that Haunted Mansion was better, but it's only because of, like, a technicality, really.
Yeah, no problem.
Like, I think Haunted Mansion only had to be a better movie because it had better visual effects. Mm-hmm. Some of which were pretty remarkable. But also, I got to say, the opening effects for Haunted Mansion, even though Haunted Mansion's made 10 years after Hocus Pocus, the opening effects really rival Hocus Pocus in terms of, like, quality. Like, they're not good. Yeah. 93... Like, this is all new, computer-generated effects. You have a talking cat who is completely computer-generated when it comes to the mouth movements and everything. And it's kind of weird-looking. But also, apparently, there were a lot of revisions to the talking cat throughout the whole movie because apparently
Which would make sense.
Yeah, Disney said that initially the cat was too scary-looking, so they wanted to shrink down the teeth, make them more rounded so that it's less creepy to kids. But also, it's a fucking cat. Just have a goddamn cat.
But the shitty part of that...
It looks weird.
The reason why I always had beef with that movie was I grew up in a very small town, and the nearest theater was like 150 miles away.
Oh,
right?
God.
So going to the theater
to
go see a movie was an extremely rare thing for me.
Yeah.
And in the summer of 1993... we all went to Timmins, which is where the nearest theater was.
That's the big city of Timmins.
That's where Shania Twain's from, bro. So we're there.
That's Timmins' only claim to fame, and Canada's only claim to fame is Timmins.
And so we're there, and my sister was there for like an orthodontic thing. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to go watch a movie. What do you guys want to watch? And me and my youngest brother were like, Jurassic Park.
Oh my fucking God.
I missed Jurassic Park to watch this shitty movie because, and here's the thing, right? One of my brothers was too scared to watch it. He just said, "Oh, I'm scared," and then my mom was like, "Oh, we'll watch Hocus Pocus," because she had a huge boner for Bette Midler, right? And I'm like, "But okay, that aside, there were better movies that I could have picked from." We went and saw that.
What else was in the fucking theater? Like Tin Cup?
I don't remember.
Could I have gone to go see Tin Cup instead?
I don't remember, but
fuck that.
I missed Jurassic Park.
Whatever
in theaters.
Kevin Costner vehicle was out.
That's like saying you're going to miss Star Wars in theaters for the first time, and you're going to watch, I don't know, a John Travolta movie about being in a bubble. You know, it's not good.
Oh, that would be appropriate. Those did come out around the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Jurassic Park was like a cinematic event in the 90s. Like, that was huge.
This movie is stupid.
Not to be missed. Jurassic Park.
Here's the thing. At the beginning of the movie, one witch kidnaps a kid because they're old and ugly and they want to be young and hot.
Yeah.
Seems like a fair trade.
Yeah, they have this weird sort of witch Necronomicon, Book of the Dead type thing, bound in human flesh, and they get a potion from the book to extract youth from the kid.
Yeah,
to make
so
them young
it's like
forever.
So already on their side. And
I guess, sure.
And then this kid's like, "Oh no, my sister," blah, blah, blah. And he runs over, and his name is Thackeray Binks. Not Zachary.
The actor's name that plays the fucking shitty kid is Thackeray Binks. Which I just found out an hour ago, and I'm still pissed about.
So, he runs after his sister, but it's too late. They suck her soul out, and then
I gotta go back.
Okay,
it's like Zachary, but if you had a lisp, it's Thackeray.
We know. I just said that.
I know, but like I'm pissed off about it.
Yes,
I can't. Fucking what's wrong with white people and what they name their fucking kids? You take a normal ass dumb average white person name. Like, okay, Zachary's not as common as fucking Michael or whatever.
You're
But
harping
then
on the name too much.
You just...
It pisses me off, too. And also, it pisses me off to find out that...
Why is it Thackeray?
The main witch is called Winifred, and I just found out that one of my like great aunts was named Winifred.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because that's like an English name in a sea of dumb French names.
And you know what, man? That's fucking kid. He'd have to go his whole life on set or at work, wherever he was, being like, oh, no. It's not Zachary. It's Thackeray. And then people will be like, oh, okay, sorry.
Dude.
But in their brains, they're like, oh, no, fuck you, it's Zachary.
Shut up. Let me stop you right now. You are wrong. The kid's name is not Thackeray. That's the character's name. So the fucking Thackeray goes over to save his dumbass sister from, keeping these witches from being hot, which they're not.
Yeah,
I will say, SJP doesn't look like a horse in this movie. She looks like a sexy pony.
Yeah. I mean, I know who she is, so I can't shake the image of what she'll become.
So the first big stupid thing to me is, for trying to foil their plans, the witch decides, I'm going to make you live forever and be a cat who can speak. So you just get, you don't know millennials. That's what every millennial wants. Thundercat has a song about how great it would be to be a cat. And
these weren't millennials, though. They were fucking stupid Victorian-era kids that had, for some reason, the same haircuts as shitty kids in the 90s.
Oh, dude, that's what any movie, that does a period piece. You'll have,
I hate that, though.
If you go to, the 80s, you go back to, they'll show, a slavery thing, and the guy's got a flat top. God
damn it. They got wigs. Why don't you just put a wig on the kid? You got this Shakespearean weird dialect coming from this fucking kid that looks like he's some 90s sitcom reject kid from Home Improvement.
There's a really dumb part where...
Fucking bowl cut.
They're going to okay, we're going to hang these witches now.
Yeah.
So, as they're doing that, they're like, what'd you do with my son, witch woman?
Yeah.
And then the cat's, jumping around the legs to be like, it's me, Dad. Even though the cat can fucking talk.
Yeah, why doesn't the cat talk when he's in fucking olden Victorian times, but he talks when he's in the 90s with the other shithead kids?
Because it's a stupid, poorly written movie.
And you know what the thing is? I don't know, man. Just keep going.
Okay, so then we cut back to nowadays, and we see this kid. He just moved in from L.A., and you can tell because he's got a tie-dye shirt like they wear in L.A. in the 90s.
Yeah, also he had a very overwhelming amount of tie-dye. In the whole movie, because he had a tie-dye shirt on, and then when he goes home to blow off steam from his hard day at school, he has a tie-dye poster, and then when he kicks over his drum at one point in the movie, he has another tie-dye shirt in his drum.
Yeah, he was a shitty drummer, too.
So he's just got loads of tie-dye. Yeah, he was a shitty drummer.
Yeah.
Kid
can't even drum.
You know what I will say was cool about the kid's room, though, is that the kid had a Hellraiser skateboard in the background.
It did look like...
It was Pinhead.
It did look like it was shot in Salem, though.
Maybe, but it doesn't really fucking matter because no witches were actually tried or hung in Salem, so who the fuck cares?
Well, they weren't. They were hung in Salem.
They were hung in Salem?
Well, they were hung outside of Salem, but... still,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. They just took that moniker of being Witch City just for tourism dollars.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nothing really happened there in Salem.
Yeah.
You know?
Chill out, dude.
Nothing. No, I'm... don't tell me to chill out.
Okay.
So this is the thing about this movie. I want to just say this, because we're going to come across as bitter and angry, and that's exactly what I am, because this movie was not fun in the way that movies that are so bad...
Yeah, it's not campy fun.
It's just it's painfully just weak 90s mediocrity, and it's just not entertaining for it. And you know what? I got to give this movie some slack, because this is the thing. I'm an adult watching a Disney movie made for little girls and children in the early 90s. This is not for me. Even when I was fucking 5 when this came out, I felt like this wasn't for me, you know?
Can I actually
and now
poke
I'm
a hole
fucking
in that?
30.
I don't think it was for kids. To me, it stank of a movie that, it was for moms who wanted to watch something for moms, because Bette Midler and SJP are in it. And then
that's a good point.
And then what's her face there? The third one, I keep forgetting. Kathy
Peggy Hill.
Yeah, Peggy Hill. She was also in Sister Act.
Yeah.
So I think it speaks to that.
I feel like she would have been the Melissa McCarthy for the year at that point in time. You know what I mean?
Much, yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So, anyways, so the kid gets bullied by a couple dudes who are bad impersonations of Beavis and Butthead. One dude's name is Ice and has ice like shaved in the back of his head.
Yeah, the Ice dude's like a bad caricature of a kid that's into hip hop, and the other kid's like a bad caricature of a guy that's into thrash metal or something.
Yeah.
You know?
But there's no reference to any of that fun stuff.
No.
And they're also like cartoonish bullies, like not believable bullies, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how you're just closing your eyes right now because it's so painful.
Yeah. I don't like this.
It's okay.
I don't like this at all.
Okay, so...
And they say tubular, which there's a lot of dumb 90s vernacular in this movie that I don't feel like was ever really valid in the 90s. Like, at one point, yeah, the bully says tubular, and then another point they refer to boobs as yabos, which pissed me off.
That sounds like... Yeah, it sounds kind of familiar.
No, it doesn't. It's not. No one ever called boobs yabos. No one ever did that. That's fucking not right.
Do you have hemorrhoids?
I feel like I'm gonna get a hernia.
Oh, you poor boy. Do you want me to kiss it better?
No, fuck you. This really was not fun. I really did not like this.
These 3 movies were garbage. I think that those fuckers must be laughing at us right now.
They're fucking pieces of shit, man. They're pieces of shit. They're fucking pieces of shit. And they're gonna spend time watching Driller Killer or some fucking bullshit cool movie. You didn't have to fucking watch 3 shitty Disney movies.
No, they're watching 12 shitty Disney movies. Okay, so anyways, the one kid has to take his little baby sister out trick-or-treating. They ended up at the one hot girl's place who he hit on at school and made a fool ass of himself. And I don't know why she ends up with... she ends up with him. Of course she does. But anyways, because he's a virgin, he grabs a lighter from... They break into this... I'm just going to skip ahead a bunch. They decide they're all going to break into the museum.
The Witch Museum.
The Witch Museum.
Yeah.
And he grabs a Zippo lighter from the display case, and it works immediately. Which, no, that's not how they work.
Yeah, we're being nitpicky, but yeah sure.
And so he's now the cool kid with the lighter.
Sure.
And so he decides to light a candle that if it's lit by a virgin, it will bring the witches back from the dead.
Yeah, it's a candle rendered from the fat of a man that had been hanged to death.
Yes.
Which is, I guess, a sort of a play on that.
The Hand of Glory?
Thank you, Hand of Glory. Yeah.
So they come back.
But it's just a Disney version because they say virgin.
Yeah. So the witches come back, and they're like, oh, we smell children, because they're, old-timey pedophiles or something. And they end up chasing these kids around. It's not very fun or funny. And they end up in these wacky scenarios because they've been dead for 3 years. They don't know what a bus is.
Yeah, they're confused about what the Black River outside the house is when it's actually just an asphalt paved road.
Which, like, you traveled in the future. You can't be that fucking stupid. You know? Like, do you see it flowing? Anyways,
but also, like, she knows the words to Screamin' Jay Hawkins' I Put a Spell on You.
Yeah.
And shit like that,
Like, and she knows that you need a driver's permit.
Yeah.
But they go to, they see a guy dressed up as Satan, right? Like the devil, and they're like, oh, it's our master, but it's just some fucking guy giving out Halloween treats. Oh, yeah. If we didn't make this clear, this happens on Halloween.
Wait. Okay. So the whole thing is that they were given the Book of the Dead from Satan himself.
Right.
To make these potions so that they could steal the youth from children. They're out trying to find the children that broke into the Haunted House Witch Museum because these kids took the book under the advisement of the talking cat that was there protecting the book.
Oh, yeah, the cat comes up and tells them about, hey, I'm a talking cat.
Yeah,
now there's a zombie after you, and he's a fun zombie who kind of looks like Johnny Depp.
Yeah, anyways, so they're looking for the kids that stole the book so they can get their shit potion. And they stumble upon a guy's house, and the guy's dressed as the devil. But I thought that actually was supposed to be literally Satan himself.
No.
No? Are you sure about that? Because that was the one part of the movie that I kind of liked. Is that like, oh, this is just a hilarious portrayal of just like really hamming it up Satan.
No, it's just a guy like giving out Halloween treats.
Because he's like, he brings them inside and he's dancing with them and he's being like an old kooky pervert. Yeah. And his wife's got like curlers in her hair and she's pissed and she goes upstairs.
You know what? You're right. It was the only fun part of the movie.
It was. But I was convinced that was actually Satan.
Yeah.
Like, he recognizes them as the 3 witches of whatever
the Sanderson sisters.
The Sanderson sisters. But I guess maybe it's just because it's a local legend. He just knew about it. But it seemed like it was all like really familiar to him and the sisters. Like this actually was Satan. So
That would have made it a better movie. Yeah.
it would have made it a better movie. So you tell me the one thing that I thought was redeeming about this movie wasn't right and that wasn't actually the devil?
No, you got it wrong.
Yeah, okay. Well, fuck me, I guess. Fuck me for having something that was minutely enjoyable.
Although you have to realize I've seen this movie more than I care to talk about.
This is like... I don't like this. This is like that time...
It's a valid movie review, you know?
This is not good.
See,
It's
now-
like that time when, like, there was one time in high school where I had to do a review of a movie, and I had to talk about how historically accurate or inaccurate it was and provide supporting details. And I got stuck with the movie Men in Tights, the Mel Brooks movie.
What?
Yeah. Okay, so that movie's a piece of shit.
It's funny when you're a kid.
Yeah, I guess maybe in the same way that Hocus Pocus could be funny when you're a kid, but when you're a teenager or a fucking 30-year-old, neither of those are funny. When you're witnessing them for the first time. There's all these 30-year-olds that are going to be listening to be like, what? Those are great movies! Because you have an emotional attachment to them, because you're blinded by nostalgia and this tie that you have to the past,
Hey,
okay? That's what it is.
Even I checked out, like, Neverending Story. Do not go back to that movie. It's not good.
I've never watched it as a kid, and I'm thoroughly convinced it's a piece of shit.
No, you
and
will
I won't
not
watch
like
it as an adult, so I just won't. But I watched Robin Hood Men in Tights. I had to watch it with a group of my classmates. They were fucking late coming over, and I didn't think that they were, so I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to watch this movie on my own and then just get through it so I could start on this report. I watched the whole movie. Then, after I'm done, one of the classmates shows up, and I'm like, fuck, god damn it, man, I just finished watching this movie. I'm not watching it again. He's like, no, come on, man, just put the rental back on. Like, it's got to go back tomorrow. We got to watch this tonight. I got to know what I'm talking about. So I watched Men in Tights again for a second time in a row. And then the third fucking partner for our group shows up halfway through the second viewing, and then makes us rewind it to the fucking beginning of the movie. So I end up watching it 2.5, 3 fucking times.
Pat. Should have picked Blazing Saddles, man.
We didn't get to pick. It was just handed to us the way that these fucking shitty movies were handed to us this time.
So you had to pick inaccuracies in Men in Tights? You should have just been everything about the movie.
Yeah, like the fact that he's wearing fucking Nikes, but it's Robin Hood. The fact that there's a fucking black dude and everybody's
Like,
cool with
the
it.
whole
All
fact
this shit.
that the movie is purposely supposed to be
Why the
not
fuck?
accurate.
Like, why wouldn't they have just said Braveheart? Like, because it's Braveheart's presented his historical fact.
Yeah, it's rife with inaccuracies.
Yes.
Yes.
But Robin Hood Men in Tights is a historical fucking parody. Why is that even something that we're
It's
talking
not even
about?
a historical parody.
Why is Hocus Pocus something we're talking about now?
It's not even a historical parody. It's a parody of a legend.
Yeah, I guess. Robin Hood wasn't real. Witches aren't real. God's not real.
So, they keep futzing around. The witches are chasing the kids. The kids are chasing the witch. They end up putting the witches in an incinerator. That doesn't work. And
Yeah, why doesn't the incinerator work? Because they used to burn witches back in the day at the stake, and that fucking killed them.
I think it was like a.
Why doesn't the incinerator work?
Isn't it like a Day of the Dead sort of thing? Not Day of the Dead. What's that? Night of the Living Dead. You know, they just burn up all the zombies and it goes in the air.
Yeah, but these witches reformed into physical beings.
Right, because they had the power of Satan at their hands.
Yeah, but they should have fucking died. They had the power of Satan at their hands when they were fucking being hung, but they still got hung and died.
I think.
What are the rules that we're working with in this fucking world here?
I think if they would have just dispersed their ashes everywhere and it would have killed everyone, like Night of the Living Dead, it would have been a better movie. Just everyone dies.
I would have been down with that.
Yeah.
But I just remember, like, seeing that scene, like, oh, they were in the incinerator. That's clever. They burned them the way that they were burned at the stake with other witches in the 1800s or whatever. And then I looked at the fucking time on the TV. I'm like, oh, wait, no, there's still another half hour left. Fuck me. I can't go to bed yet. I need to watch the rest of this movie.
Oh, they're there. So, anyways, they come back and they decide, oh, now we're going to fucking kidnap the girl, the youngest sister. I can't remember her name. And Max is like, no, take me instead. I'm a virgin.
Sister, I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you again. I'm interrupting you. But I did it.
Okay.
And I'm still doing it.
Yes, I can tell.
So I should just continue with my point. The younger sister was played by Thora Birch.
Who's that?
I'll explain in a moment. So, in getting ready to watch this movie, I sat down and watched this movie with my wife.
How did Paige like it?
Paige saw it as a kid.
Okay.
So Paige liked it just fine because she remembered having a fun time watching a silly Disney movie as a kid because the movie was made for her. So she's remembering it through rose-colored glasses. And I'm watching it, and I'm not stoked to watch it because this is a shit movie that I wouldn't have given a fuck when it came out.
It's a shit movie, yes.
And she's like, come on, it's cool, you'll like it. You know, Thora Birch is in it. Now, Thora Birch is the actress from the movie Ghost World. She plays Enid, who has the big, thick black glasses, and she's got the short black hair bob, and she's got giant voluptuous breasts, and she's into like punk music and stuff. And when I was 19 and I watched Ghost World, that character's 19, I was very much into Thora Birch and very much into Enid, because like, if you look at her in that movie, she's pretty much the mold of every girl I've ever dated.
Yeah.
Ever since that movie.
Velma.
Even my wife looks like her. And she's like, oh, you like Thora Birch? She's in this movie. Thora Birch is the little girl. Thora Birch is fucking 9 years old in this movie. What the fuck? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Why is this a plus for me watching this movie?
So I'm gonna keep things going. All I'm gonna say, this movie gets 1 star from me. You know, I can't give it anything lower than 1.
Do we have to give it 1 star?
No. I'm just saying that.
1 star out of how many stars?
if-
is it out of 2 stars?
I think if you want to watch like a spooky movie for kids, just watch Casper.
There's no good Disney spooky movies.
but-
there aren't.
But Casper's
There
not
aren't.
Disney, is it?
No, it's not
No.
Disney.
But it has that cool moment where like the guy looks in the mirror and they're kind of like playing jokes off of like
Just
real
watch
horror
a Tim
movies.
Burton movie. Just watch a Tim Burton movie. And there were like enough things in this movie that sort of like, I feel like sort of aped the aesthetic of Tim Burton movies at the time. You know, like the zombie with the lips stitched shut.
Yeah, that was
and
very
shit. That was so
Edward
Tim
Scissorhands.
Burton,
Yeah,
very Edward Scissorhands with the wacky hair and everything. And I just don't. Disney does fairy tales, okay?
Yep.
In any movie that they do, it's not a fairy tale. Guess what? It's still a fucking fairy tale. Even a movie about witches, even a movie about a haunted mansion. Okay, so that's what you're gonna get. They don't make actually spooky movies because they're for fucking kids.
Speaking of haunted mansions,
Yeah. Well, hold on a second. You want to hear some fun facts about Hocus Pocus?
do you want to say fun facts about Hocus Pocus?
Yeah, let's have some fun facts about Hocus Pocus.
Okay, let's hear them.
Because I got some notes. Okay. Okay. So, the script was written as a Disney Channel original movie. It caught the eyes of a few Disney studio heads, and they felt it was strong enough to carry as a good theatrical movie. Which is funny, because the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, this feels like a made-for-TV movie.
Oh, we're gonna get into a worse one.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so, more fun facts. The role of Max Dennison was originally offered to Leonardo DiCaprio, but he turned it down to be in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and he just made the
Better
right
choice.
He just made the right choice.
That is the right choice.
So,
I've
yeah.
never even seen that movie because it looks depressing as hell.
It is, but it's actually a good movie.
Yeah.
So, even
And
as a kid,
I've
Leonardo
seen it-
DiCaprio was
yeah.
choosy and chose right. You know?
I've seen it referenced in a bunch of things. I know what happens throughout it, you know?
Yeah. It's a good movie, but yeah, it is a bit of a downer.
Like an American Dad with the fat squirrels. Mama. Like,
Yeah, you got it. Sarah Jessica Parker.
SJP.
Sarah Jessica Parker. She plays a witch who was executed during the Salem witch trials. While researching her family history for the show Who Do You Think You Are in 2004, Parker was shocked to discover that her 10th great-grandmother, Esther Elwell, was arrested in Salem. So, that's kind of interesting.
That is kind of
She
interesting.
was arrested in Salem in the late 1600s for committing, quote-unquote, sundry acts of witchcraft and choking a neighbor to death.
Oh, cool.
As Esther's case never went to court, she escaped with her life, and the accusation ended with the Salem witch trials. Parker said, "It changed everything I thought about who I was." So that's pretty interesting.
That is actually kind of interesting.
Her great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmaybe might have been an actual witch. She choked a guy to death.
That's pretty cool. That's a strong woman.
Yeah. Dude, I went through like all the trivia on IMDb. None of them are worth a shit. Like,
Let's move on. We're a half hour in.
Just these couple notes here, man. All right. You want to hear about Haunted Mansion? Because we're going to talk about it now.
We're going to talk about it.
You want to hear the synopsis for Haunted Mansion? Because I'm going to tell it to you
Let's
now.
hear the Sinopius.
Sinopius. A realtor and his wife and children are summoned to a mansion which they soon discover is haunted. While they attempt to escape, he learns an important lesson about the family that he has neglected. Because there's always, like, a morality thing.
Right.
You can't have your fun without the morality, and it's steeped in morality and just...
Don't try to explain Disney movies to me. I know.
I know, but it's just annoying. Like, Disney's trademarks get in the way of a good story sometimes.
Yeah, but you also have to remember, in their lull, not their strongest point.
Whatever, dude. Their strongest point now is just remaking all the animated shit that was a hit decades ago.
Someone is right.
Yeah. Jungle Book.
So did you finish with it?
Others. Yeah, that's the synopsis.
Okay. So yeah, it's just weird because like Eddie Murphy might not be the strongest get nowadays. You know?
Well, in 2003, he was certainly on his way out.
Yeah, he was on his way out. But here's the thing: is like he doesn't even try to say a joke in this movie.
He has jokes, but it's a Disney movie, right? So the way that does.
They're just responses with like an Eddie Murphy accent. Shrek had funnier fucking Eddie Murphy jokes in it, and it's Shrek.
Yeah, it's true.
You know?
Yeah, his jokes, they don't land with adults or kids in this movie. They're just said in a way that could be funny, but they're not funny.
And the other thing, too, not scary. Like, even as a kid, I would be like, this is not scary.
I mean, maybe if you were like...
And I was a pussy.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you were a kid who was like a little bitch, you might have problems with like the spiders.
I had like Goldilocks and I had a giant lollipop, and I was like, this is not scary at all, Mummy.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this movie. It's based off a ride. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know.
And it doesn't even try to hide the fact. In the opening credits, based off the goddamn ride. I mean, it worked for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay, let me talk about that for a second, though, okay? Because I'm going to bring that up in a moment. But, like, this sort of once again goes back to the fact that I'm too old for Disney movies to give a shit about any of these. Once again, you got Eddie Murphy, he's not in his prime. Stuff doesn't land with kids or adults. It's not good. And his movie's trying to make bank off of a beloved theme park ride at Disney. But, yeah, and if it would have worked, it would have been cool because you would have had a successful movie, and you would have had a movie that would have drawn people to the park, and the park that would have drawn people to the movie, vice versa, and you would have had a more enriched, larger mythos behind the ride, but it didn't work. And it's like a 3-minute ride. A 3-minute ride at Disney is not enough to support a fucking hour-and-a-half long movie. And you could see how they tried to stretch it out, and they added things that weren't in the ride. And there were things that they took from the movie that they put in the ride after the fact, but they don't support one another, and neither are good to really necessitate that.
But why does Pirates of the Caribbean work then? That's such a weird thing.
Yeah, it is a really weird thing. You know, man, I'll tell you why it works. Because it doesn't feel... Okay, I'll tell you why Pirates of the Caribbean works, okay, man? Pirates of the Caribbean is a Disney movie, but it doesn't feel like a Disney movie. It's one of the few ones where it doesn't get in the way with morality tales. It doesn't get in the way with fairy tale nonsense and love stories.
It's like a swashbuckling fun thing.
Yeah,
there's love stories in it, but yeah.
Yes, but you don't remember them because they're not the main focus. The main focus is Johnny Depp acting like a rambunctious pervert drunk.
Yeah, and that's
doing
fun.
A weird Keith Richards impersonation, and there's like weird sexual innuendo and everything with him, and it's just weird.
Yeah.
And it's fun, and it works. And it doesn't feel like a Disney movie.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why it's probably good to anybody worth a damn, whether they're young or whether they're old. So, I will say this, though. This movie, it's not good. It's not bad. It's just bland, which I feel like is worse than being bad. You know? But at least the one thing it had going for it was that it had some cool special effects. Like I mentioned earlier, the opening was pretty weak. The effects that they had for the opening for this movie in 2003 rivaled the shitty effects from 1993 with Hocus Pocus. But you get into towards the sequences where they're trapped in the mausoleum with the family, running from all the ghosts, and all these reanimated corpses come back to life. That was a cool sequence. That was sort of like Thriller on steroids. It looked great. Rick Baker, who did the makeup for Thriller, An American Werewolf in London, and a plethora of great horror movies actually did the makeup for these creatures.
Oh no, the makeup was great.
The makeup's great. Lots of
that
practical
house looked
effects.
amazing.
Makeup. Yes, that house did look amazing, didn't it?
It did.
Some of it was filmed in a real house, but some of it was also just filmed on stages that they had made. There was the production design that went into this movie was like so crazy.
Yeah, the problem is like they spent so much on that. They spent like the cast had to be expensive.
Yeah,
because Eddie Murphy's not a cheap get.
They have these crazy effects, these crazy set pieces, all that cost a lot of money and a lot of time, and like they're cool. But then you just have these like bland performances and this bland plot that just doesn't serve the setting that it's in, and it just falls short around it, and it's just a bummer.
Well, the plot's stupid, but like
the plot,
whatever. You can have a stupid plot, but like the dialogue was so painfully boring.
Yeah, and the kids were boring, and the kids.
It's hard to make kids not boring. You know?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And like the one kid's just a scaredy cat, and the other kid's just a sarcastic kid that thinks she's smarter than her parents.
Oh no! Here's the character traits of the two kids. The boy's afraid of spiders. The girl's not afraid of spiders.
Yeah, pretty much it. Yeah. You could sum it up like that.
But then the boy overcomes his fear of spiders.
Oh, hilarious. That's great. That's so inspiring. And there's this whole through line, which is so obvious from the get-go, because guess what? Eddie Murphy goes to the Haunted Mansion with his wife and his kids, even though they're supposed to be going to the lake house.
Yep.
The wife gets the call to go to the mansion, not Eddie Murphy. They say, oh, we don't want him to come. We just want you to come. Okay? And he's like, no, I'm going to come. I need to handle this. You're a woman. You can't do it. So he goes there, and surprise, surprise, they're pissed off that he's there because they just wanted the woman to come. So it's like, oh, well, what's the motivation that they wanted the woman to come? And you see the kids looking throughout the house later on, and oh, this is weird. There's a music box. And there's a music box that springs up with these two ceramic figures dancing. A ceramic figure that looks a lot like the owner of the Haunted Mansion, with a little black ceramic figure that looks a lot like Eddie Murphy's wife. And it's just like, I get this is supposed to be like foreshadowing, but that's the stupid movie right there.
Well, like the foreshadowing is that they just spoon feed you. You know, it's just like, hey, don't touch my car. My car is my favorite thing. Be careful with it. So you know that either something bad's going to happen to his car for comic effect,
it's almost
or
like
he's going to have to sacrifice his car.
Obvious thing for dumb kids.
And it's one of those things where they didn't even try to put any like parent jokes in it.
No,
you know, because the script feels like it was the first draft, and they didn't punch it up with humor.
You know what's sad about this is that I know it wasn't the first draft.
No? Why?
No. I'll tell you why in a little while.
Okay.
I don't want to get to it right now, but there's no like silly like, oh man, parents just don't understand moment, you know? It's just weak. And yeah, the whole thing with the wife being lured there, it's because guess what? The owner of the house is a ghost. His bride that died was his black interracial love from like the 1700s. And it's like, ooh, Disney's getting edgy. They got an interracial ghost story here. But then the butler murders her. Yeah. Spoiler alert.
They don't come out and say that, but they imply it.
They do. Yeah. They do. They imply that he murdered her because it would have been bad for the family bloodline.
It is not right for the family.
Yeah. And it's just like, well, this is just weak. They're doing all this weird interracial fucking ghost stuff, which sounds saucy, but it's still boring.
And I feel like this could have been a fun movie, like The Frighteners, or
this movie is so much like The Frighteners, actually, but just not good.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like
Frighteners is a weird movie.
Frighteners is a weird movie,
but it's very memorable.
It is very memorable.
Where this one's not.
Did you even notice that? Like, okay, there's the scene where they're going through the cemetery where Eddie Murphy can see all the ghosts, and they're just walking about.
There's one of the worst scenes in that movie.
That's the exact same scene as The Frighteners when Michael J. Fox is going through the cemetery and he's looking at all the ghosts just doing their thing, and they're like, "Oh, can he see us?"
But they have a moment where he's in the car and he sees the two ghosts, and he's like, "Can he see us?" And because the ghosts think the people can't see him, he's like, "Yes, I can see you. I'm looking right at you." He's like, and they don't even yes and it. They're like, "No, you can't." It's like. Yeah, you've taken no improv. Like, I don't know much about improv, but I know that like, no, you don't. It's like not something you do. And
no, anything. You don't.
It's like no, I got a wizard cape.
No, you don't.
It's that equivalent of that, you know.
Yeah, I know.
It's like seeing kids play. Oh, it's such a
I shot
movie.
you. I shot you. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. There's also There's another scene, too, that really heavily mirrors The Frighteners, because both the movies end in a very similar fashion where the villain from the movie gets dragged down to a giant flaming hell pit through this...
Which happens in The Frighteners.
Which happens in The Frighteners, but a serpent made of fire comes up through this hell pit in both movies and drags the bad ghost down into the depths of hell and eats them.
Yeah.
In both movies, that happens. Which is like, are you serious? Like, there's so many like correlations here, and all the other things in the movie too, like just like the bad ghost movie tropes, the haunted movie tropes, where it's, you know, the eyes in the paintings are moving and they're being watched, and oh, this lady's possessed by the spirit of a ghost that died, and it's his dead lover, and blah 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 blah. I've seen this stuff in 1,000,001 movies that, you know, did it better beforehand.
We should have watched
And here
Ernest
I'm
Scared
seeing
Stupid.
it being watered down for kids. Ernest Scared Stupid, at least, like, yeah, I'm sure if I watched it now and never saw it before, I'd probably think it was terrible. But at least that movie I did see as a kid, so I can have these fond memories of when I did see it.
Kiss Me, Booger Lips. That was funny when I was a kid.
Yeah,
when I was 5.
that was funny.
Yeah.
You know what else I liked about Ernest was that Christmas movie he had. I didn't like the Christmas movie, but I liked them when he went to go like infiltrate like this weird guard station in his truck.
Yeah.
He put a bunch of rubber hoses underneath the tarp in his truck and pretended that they were snakes because Santa Claus was hiding underneath the tarp with a rattle. And he's like, oh, there's a bunch of snakes down there. You want to do that?
There's a bunch of snakes in there, Vern.
I took him to a petting zoo the other day and bit a kid right on the lip. Oh, poor kid. His mom was screaming. It was funny. It's Ernest and Santa. But, yeah, this movie. Whatever, man.
So that movie was no good. Watch The Frighteners.
Yeah, watch The Frighteners instead.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say is that clearly this movie, because of the sets and the practical effects and Eddie Murphy, even though Eddie Murphy was on his way out and he's not doing good, he's not caring anymore, clearly, the guy's still taking a paycheck. This movie cost a lot of money. So it cost $90 million to make. $2,003. That's a lot more money than what $90 million would be worth today.
Yeah.
Grossed $75 million.
Not good. Okay.
You know, now domestically, that's what that was. It cost 90, grossed 75. It made more internationally and overseas. But then you couple that with the fact that they had an enormous spending budget for advertising. They might have been lucky to break even on this whole movie.
Yeah, but spending for advertising, it already factors in like the 90 millions to make, you know? Yeah, it does. Yeah, did you never hear the shit broken down?
Not the way that was broken down on Box Office Mojo.
Okay. Because, like, I know when I read movie reviews, they say this was $4 million to make. And you're like, that cost $4 million to make? And they're like, it was $1 million to produce it and then $3 million to advertise it, you know?
Yeah. No, you could see where they would spend $90 million on this movie.
Yeah.
Like, those effects were not cheap.
No.
A lot of them were practical.
Yeah.
A lot of those people in the crypts were people in masks and get-ups. Like, that was crazy.
And they had the inconceivable
they spent the
guy.
time. Yeah, they had the inconceivable guy.
Inconceivable! That dude. They had him.
Yeah. You want to hear some fun facts about Haunted Mansion?
Yeah.
Okay, so
You have this piece of shit written down.
yeah, that's just a note for me. Yeah, there's a lot of notes throughout this report here that I have typed up that I won't actually say. Like, this is a piece of shit, Lou. I really want to punch you in the dick for making me watch this movie.
Oh, you love me. I'll take you camping. We'll find Bigfoot.
Fuck you, Lou. Fuck these movies. That's my very last note that I wrote that I wasn't intending to recite. But yeah, these are just notes that I write for myself because guess what? It's really boring watching these movies, but then it's even more boring reading about them afterwards and researching them and typing up my thoughts about these movies because I don't care to remember them or think about them ever again. So, whatever. Here's some fun facts about this piece of shit. So remember how you were like, oh, clearly this was the first draft? No, it wasn't the first draft.
Oh, really?
Following the massive success of 1984's Ghostbusters,
okay,
Disney greenlit a Haunted Mansion movie then.
Oh, wow.
Hoping that they could capitalize off of that movie's success.
So this was on the shelf for like 20 years?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So guess what? If you have an idea that's sitting on the shelf for 20 years, if it was a good idea, you would have done it by now.
Yeah.
Not in 2003.
Wow, I never knew that about this movie.
Yeah. Okay. However, at first they would only give permission for the film to be made if either Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, or Rick Moranis would play the lead role.
Or
Rick Moranis.
Okay.
Basically, anybody from Ghostbusters we need in the lead for this movie. If not, we're not going to do it.
But Eddie Murphy's role in Ghostbusters was taken by Ernie Hudson because he was supposed to be in that movie.
That's the funny connective tissue. That was my next note there. So
sorry, I didn't mean to step on your dick there.
No.
Yeah.
It's funny. You know your movie history here somewhat. Yes, that's correct. Eddie Murphy was offered the role of Winston Zeddemore in Ghostbusters, which I believe he was filming Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah,
do it,
I think so.
Which clearly worked out way better for him than he was in Ghostbusters, because look at all the lines that Ernie Hudson got. Ernie Hudson makes a living now going around to conventions being Ernie Hudson, the guy from Ghostbusters.
He's on stuff.
Dude, name one other thing.
Grace and Frankie.
I've never seen that.
Well, he's on that.
Well, if I haven't seen it, it doesn't exist.
Okay, fair enough.
All right.
It's not a horror movie.
Guess what? He's not going to conventions and signing autographs because he's in Grace and Frankie, okay?
Yeah, no, I know.
So there could be an alternate universe here, an alternate timeline where Eddie Murphy, nobody really knows who he is anymore, and he just goes around signing autographs as Winston Zeddemore, the guy from Ghostbusters. And who knows, maybe Ernie Hudson's the breakout star of Beverly Hills Cop. That'd be great.
So I'll move to the next one, or you got more fun facts?
A couple more fun facts for you, even though I want to really get on to the next one.
You sound like a tired carnival barker, like, all right, kids, get on the fucking ride.
Yeah.
I want to go home and drink.
Yeah, get on this wonderful ride that is Haunted Mansion. Quite literally a ride. Haunted Mansion, based on the theme park ride of the same name. It bombed, as I said. Disney, at this time, they had another movie in production based off another one of their rides, Pirates of the Caribbean. Disney thought the Pirates movie would probably flop too, given the horrible failure of Haunted Mansion, so they were quick to dismantle and sell off the props and set pieces to try to recuperate costs for their production budgets. But then they had to spend all that money again once they realized that they had a hit on their hands, and they immediately put into production Pirates of the Caribbean sequel. So that wasn't originally how it was planned. They thought it was going to be a one and done. They thought it was going to be a bomb. Actually,
how many Pirates of the Caribbean movies are there? Like 5?
There's 5.
Jesus.
Yeah, they're still cranking them out now. There was actually a dude that I used to know who worked as like I can't remember if he was like a gripper or like a fucking catering guy or something, but he actually worked on Pirates of the Caribbean, and they were just giving away stuff from set. Like, he got like pieces of the actual like gold doubloons that they used as treasure in the movie.
Okay. Like the plastic stuff.
Yeah. But like, it's a screen used prop.
Yeah.
And they're just like giving the shit away or selling shit off, and it's like worth a lot of money now. And it's just funny. Also, another fun fact, previously Eddie Murphy had developed his stand-up routine, that had lampooned unrealistic premises of horror movies, and specifically haunted houses in horror movies. This is all from the Eddie Murphy special Delirious.
Oh, right.
He suggests that black people would never be featured in such a movie, as they would just immediately leave upon citing anything supernatural and just say, fuck that. Which he should have said to this movie.
Yeah, wasn't it the whole bit? It's just like, my daughter's stuck in the TV. It's like, well, have you tried anything? I changed the channel. This shit didn't work.
Yeah,
like, and she's 4
Poltergeist.
years old. I couldn't have been that attached to her. I'll just make another one.
Yeah.
And then there's all the homophobic stuff he says, which is not as, it doesn't age as well.
Yep. It doesn't.
Yep. So, I want to talk about the next shitty movie?
Yeah, I didn't watch it because
No, because if you would have watched it, I'd be dead right now, full of knife wounds.
I would have been.
Yeah. So,
I would have been dead. I would have been dead. It would have sucked my last ounce of will to live from my body, and I would have ceased to exist.
Scream Teams I had never heard of.
Yeah.
And it's this movie.
Was it good?
No.
Oh.
No. It was easily the worst of the 3.
Go figure.
Yeah. It's this movie where this... it had some cool stuff in it, but for the most part, no. So it's about these 2 kids. They have a grandpa, and he's a wacky inventor. He tries to invent this thing that carves pumpkins for you.
Is this like the Nutty Professor?
No, it's kind of more like
or Flubber?
Ernest without the fun Ernest.
Okay.
Yeah. And he croaks, so the kids are at his funeral, and then they see this mysterious dude who's rifling through their books. And they're like, "What are you doing here, mister?" He's like, "Oh, I was a friend of your grandfather's. I was just looking for a special book he had, right?" And they're not sure what it is. But then
he's trying to destroy all of his pornography. You know, people used to have to do that back in the days. Like, you gotta come burn my porno stash. With me, it's like, oh, delete, my search history.
He's like, "Where's that photo of that lemon party we had?" Like,
yeah.
So the kids find the books that the fucking shithead was looking for, and they realize it's
child pornography.
old library books.
That's the next thing I was going to say.
They wouldn't have child pornography in it. This is not 8mm.
Although, can I say something here? There's a scene in Hocus Pocus with the creepy bus driver.
Yes.
Do you remember what the bus driver says when they ask them what a bus is? He says, "Oh, this is the magical craft that will take you to anything you desire, my lady." And they say, "Children." And he's like, "I think we could do that."
He's like, "Might take me a few tries."
I think, what are you going to go cruising for kids? You're not going to be like, "This is weird."
Yeah, I think the
bus
joke
driver?
was that he was going to put a baby inside their bodies with his penis.
Oh, that makes so much more sense.
See,
that's actually kind of funny.
Your mind just always races towards the pedophilia.
And you know what, man?
You got to curb that.
I'm
dude.
also like half listening to this movie because it's not fun.
No, it's not.
You're talking about this Scream Team movie. I'm not. I don't know anything you're saying.
So the kids find out that there's a ghost that's going around burning shit. And it's the ghost of this inventor.
That's kind of cool, actually.
From like the 1800s.
Arson ghost.
Yeah. And so they're chasing him around.
Fire.
And then they actually run into other ghosts. One played by Eric Idle, which I don't know what he's doing in this.
Okay.
He must have been hurting. You know Eric Idle.
Yeah. Monty Python.
Yeah.
You use some cash.
So they find this whole place where the souls get processed to go to the afterlife. I'll do that. And so all these souls get processed into the afterlife in this one spot. And Eric Idle's working there. Yeah, do you need a second?
No, I'm just imagining them again. I'm just imagining the souls of dead people being processed into like hot dogs. Like literally.
No, they're getting they're shoving him through a mirror, and that's hell or heaven.
Oh, it's inventive.
Yeah. So. And also, Peggy Hill is working there again.
Oh, it's
movie tie-in, fun times.
Her again.
And so, the kids just get burnt to death, and then their corpses are raped.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
all right.
It was a bad movie, man. Like it's just one of those like, come on, just wrap it up. Like it was one of those movies. It was an hour and a half long. Could easily have been 45 minutes.
So you spent 4.5 hours watching 3 movies.
Yep.
None of which were good.
Nope.
Only God knows how much time you spent making notes. And then we're here talking about this movie.
I had a bunch of weed and whiskey.
So compounded together, how many hours of our lives do you think we've wasted on this?
It'll be 7 collectively.
No, it'd be more than 7, because each movie... Oh, I guess I was going to say 4.5 hours is what you watched. I watched a solid 3.
Okay, so all right,
hours researching and writing.
So for you, it's about 6 hours.
Yeah.
And for me, it's probably a bit more.
I'm gonna get in my car.
Okay.
I'm gonna drive the 24 hours consecutively down to Florida, where I'm gonna. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I get there. I guess I'll have 24 hours to think about it. I don't know if I'm gonna hog tie him, zip tie him.
I ain't for sure yet.
Yeah. I'm gonna put on adult diapers, so I don't even have to stop to go to the bathroom.
That woman who worked for NASA.
Yeah. I'm gonna be smart like her, and I don't know what I'm gonna do to these horror junkies, motherfuckers. But it's not gonna be good. Why are they watching all these movies? They're terrible.
I think I'm interested to see how they're gonna like it.
I just don't have the patience for movies. People are on these tears about like, oh, they're so bad, they're good. I get that with movies like Evil Bong or Ginger Dead Man or The Room or Troll 2 or whatever.
Oh my God, they ate her, and now they're gonna eat me. Oh my God.
Yeah. I get that. But you know what? I'm also tired of that, and I just don't want to waste my time watching those movies.
Fair enough.
Like, it's fun if you're at a party And you don't need to watch the whole movie. You just watch the parts, bits and pieces with your friends.
Also, you've been going through some heavy shit. Not heavy, but like big shit.
Yeah. I've been going through some big shit lately.
Yeah.
My idea of
And
blowing
we say that
off
almost every
steam-
episode, but please listeners, it's true.
Yeah.
But I'm hanging out with you. I love you, buddy.
Yeah, I love you too.
Just
I
a
just,
chance.
this is a terrible idea. You said, like, hey, let's do this thing where we swap episodes. I'm like, that's cool, man. What are we going to talk about? Oh, we're going to talk about horror movies. That's cool, man. What movies are we going to talk about?
They're doing Disney month.
That's not cool, man.
Yeah.
Why the fuck didn't we wait till they had, like, sci-fi horror month?
That's my fault. I'm going to take the
Or
blame on that one.
fucking
I'll buy you a burger.
period horror month. You know, like
Yeah.
anything.
Oh, you know what,
Anything.
man?
I would have watched
No, Pat. This is all on me.
Serbian film.
Oh no, I'm not watching that.
I've watched it. I'd watch it again. I'd rather watch that than Hocus Pocus.
Taxidermy. Have you ever seen that?
No,
That's a great movie. You should
I
watch
haven't
that.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
You know, I gotta say this too. Mick Garris, he wrote Hocus Pocus.
Who's that?
Mick Garris is a horror director and horror writer.
Okay.
He's adapted a lot of Stephen King's movies for the screen.
Like what?
Like he did The Stand. He did the TV version of The Shining. He wrote Sleepwalkers with Stephen King and directed Sleepwalkers. He directed Critters 2.
I used to have The Stand.
Yeah.
It's like 6 hours long, dude.
He also did the Masters of Horror series. I like the Masters of Horror series. Did Freddy's Nightmares in the 80s. He's done some fun stuff.
Well,
But he wrote this movie, and I would say, Mick Garris, you also owe me some time for my life back.
we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah.
And we're gonna let go of the Horror Junkies, and we're gonna take our show
We're
back
gonna let
over.
go. We're gonna let go our iron grasp on this podcast
Yeah.
feed, RSS feed. You can have it back
Yeah.
and go back
And,
listening to these other goons talk about movies that are hopefully less shitty than the ones that we talked about.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to us,
Check out This Might Sound Crazy.
podcast. We don't talk about these things. We talk about things that are more interesting than this. We talk about paranormal phenomenon and Bigfoot and cryptids
And missing
strange
people.
news and missing people and true crime, and not fucking
And wrestling, for
Disney
some reason.
horror. Well, I kind of forced that on you because that's just a thing of mine. Not Disney quote unquote horror movies. They're not horror. They're not fun. They're not good movies. They're not anything good to do.
All right. Let's wrap this up. Bye bye. Big kisses.
Yeah.